Hello, our article title is Reactive Transport Modeling of CO2 Brine rock Interaction on Long-Term CO2 Sequestration in Shale Formation. And this is the summary of this article. The objective is to evaluate long-term geochemical dynamics of CO2 brine rock interactions and property changes in China's shale formation. And the method they use is 2D reactive transport model using site-specific field parameters. And the key finding is the initial CO2 injections lowers fluid pH to cause early mineral dissolution and temporarily increase porosity, but over time, geochemical buffering triggers secondary mineral precipitation that reduces long-term porosity. In conclusion, mineral trapping provides the most secure permanent CO2 storage. The strength of the research question is the study provides a clear real-world context and fills a critical research gap by modeling thousand-year timescales that short-term laboratory experiments cannot replicate. But the weakness is the paper lacks a formally declared hypothesis, relying instead on descriptive modeling objective. And about the appropriateness of methods, the strength is the author used the industry standard Thought React to combine with realistic site data and mineral sensitivity cases to capture natural reservoir heterogeneity. But the limitation is the methodology is constrained by a 2D grid that omits 3D spatial convection and faulting, relies on the coordinate carbon model which oversimplifies pore geometry, and assumes a static 50 degrees Celsius temperature that ignores long-term thermal feedback.
For the validity of results, Zhang and their team present strong data showing how trapped carbon dioxide safely transformed into solid minerals over 1,000 years. As you can see in the slide, this is the mathematical model about the prediction of rock formation after 1,000 years. So we can see that the red color means that there is a rock occurred, while the blue one means there is no rock occurred. So when we are talking about validity of result, there is a weakness in their fluid mechanic model. So in order to get a very precise calculation, the pressure reading need to be perfectly aligned with their correct geometric heights. And the author doesn't explain that the data that they have is carefully matched with the pressure difference on the exact depth of the uneven ground formation. And this is important as the chemical reaction are highly dependent on pressure. So, why are we mentioning this? This is because these small errors could stack up over 1,000 years that make the data have a little error on the final result. Despite the error, the data still remains valid, and the authors are honest about the natural challenge predicting the chemical reaction, and the authors do not amend any results. And the final interpretation is that the Shenzhou formation is safe, and the long-term storage site for carbon is strongly supported by the mathematical models, and the data shows that the formed rock will not accidentally plug up around the injection area.
The physical laboratory experiments used are limited because they are constrained by time and cannot adequately capture the hundreds of thousands of years required for long-term carbon dioxide geological storage. Additionally, the simulation uses the Kozeny-Kamenet equation to calculate changes in reservoir probability based on porosity, which assumes the reservoir rock has uniform voids, which ignores changes in rock particle size, bending degree, and reaction surface area, assuming these factors have no effect on permeability.
Hi, so I will introduce you about significance and relevance of findings. So first, this 2000-year study proves mineral trapping works. It shows that CO2 permanently converts into solid carbonate rock like magnesite and siderite, like carbon, away forever, eliminating leakage risks. So as we go to the next slide, it talks about reservoir life cycle and dynamics, where it maps the reservoir's two-phase life cycle. Early acid dissolution temporarily opens up the rock to boost flow, while the late-stage mineral precipitation gradually tightens it back up over the time, giving engineers a clear roadmap for a long-time storage capacity. And the last one, scaling commercial CCS, where we talk about the real world data from the Shihezi formations. This research bridges the gap from the lab tests to the field development, giving engineers and policymakers the confidence to scale up the industrial CCS and the heat zero targets.
For ethical concerns, no conflicts of interest declared, grant funding from national programs fully disclosed. Purely computational thought react simulation with no human subject or personal data. For data access, data available upon request, complying with administrative privacy and data management rules. For environmental ethics contributes to broader environmental ethics by evaluating long term subsurface storage safety. In a summary, for core contribution, it is successfully modeled 2000-year time frame in the Shihazi formation, overcoming the physical time limits of a laboratory experience. For key mechanism, demonstrated that early mineral dissolutions temporarily boost porosity before long-term secondary precipitations reduces it. For final takeaway, confirms that mineral trapping provides a secure and permanent solution for geological carbon storage despite minor modeling simplifications.